Welcome to Community Connections. In this episode, we see the idea of community manifested through shared experiences, mutual support, and the powerful bonds that bring people together. Sun City TV had heard great things about OPFOB, and this episode follows our journey to learn more about the meaning behind the acronym and the OPFOB gates.
It used to be a 1,200-acre tract that was owned by the Malthruses, and has been split up. And the portion of it that is OPFOB, there's this ethereal element to it that once you cross this threshold, and our members have described it to me this way, is it's the same feeling that they got when they came home, when they returned from their deployments, when they came back from overseas. There's that sense of belonging. Not only is it a very welcoming, very nice place to be, but it's a place for community and tribe to happen. That's one of the most special things about it.
Set in Ridgeland, a 268-acre haven was created for veterans, active military, and first responders. J.R. and Stephanie Brown shared the story of how this came to be, and in their words, how it serves others to connect in camaraderie.
This is a special day for Sun City TV because we have been on a mission for over a year to have our residents learn more about OPFOB. And what better way to do that than with its founders? So Stephanie, JR, thank you so much for inviting us in today. There's a story to be told about OPFOB, and I have to say, your executive director, Jimmy Blanton, in September gave us what I call OPFOB 101.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us so many facts, figures, but what we missed was the origin. Mm-hmm. How did this begin? So, JR, I think that's tossed to you then. Okay,
well,
homecoming.
Yeah.
All right. From what I've read, it was marred by an injury.
Yes, ma'am.
It was marred by what was happening around you with your fellow veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to believe that took quite a toll on you.
It did. You know, I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. I did a deployment with 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines as a canine handler. And then I was able to go back to Iraq as a contractor. So I did back-to-back 3 years pretty much consecutively in Iraq. And when I came home is when I started struggling the most. You know, Stephanie at the time was living in New York City. And this was the height of the McCain-Obama election cycle. Kind of just the political scene was anti-Iraq, anti-Afghanistan. So I did like a lot of us do, and I self-isolated in a 600-square-foot apartment for an entire year. While I'm sitting on the couch at 10 o'clock in the morning watching Jerry Springer eating my Fruit Loops, I'm starting to get phone calls and emails of, hey, Pedro just got killed. This guy just got blown up. That's where everything started to settle in. And it was like, well, survival skill. Well, maybe if I was there, something could have been different. It's the things that we do. So couldn't sleep at night, anxiety, depression, self-isolation. It all started just really digging in. And after that, I'm originally from upstate New York, and we moved back up to upstate New York. And I didn't have any other veterans or first responders up there that were, that I could talk to, that I could relate with. So again, I was still self-isolating. The first week or two that we were back up there, we were at a restaurant and ran into a classmate that I graduated high school with. And he gives me a hug and it's like, hey, did you hear about Francis? Well, Francis was my childhood best friend. And when I was in the delayed entry program waiting to ship out to boot camp, your recruiters try to get you to get all your buddies to join. Well, I convinced Francis to join the Marine Corps with me. Unfortunately, when he got home from Afghanistan, he put a shotgun to his head and took his life. And he was the first of, as recently as a week and a half ago, 31 guys that I've lost to suicide. I was already struggling. Obviously, that just, was gasoline pouring on the fire and just really went down this spiral to the point where I finally raised my hand and I went to the VA. Within 3 months, they had me on 13 different medications. I couldn't tell you which way was up, down, left, or right. Abusing hard alcohol on top of it, like a lot of veterans. It's just one of the easiest tools that we think that we can use to kind of suppress everything. So it ended up all culminating at one point in time where Stephanie was 9 months pregnant, getting ready to pop with our first daughter. And I remember, I can't tell you what happened throughout that day, but vividly remember that evening. She opens up the door and I'm in the corner with a shotgun getting ready to take my own life. She wrestles the gun out of my hands, gets me in bed, and it was that next morning that I woke up and it was just, what the hell am I doing? If that gun would have went off and hurt her or my unborn child, what are we doing? And that was the day that we like to say that, like, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to be here. I need to be here. Let's figure this out. And not that it was easy after that. There were still a lot of struggles, but I've been one of the blessed ones to have a very strong-willed Greek-Italian woman as my wife who's not afraid to put her foot up my rear end, push me to take advantage of the GI Bill. So I went to a community college for a couple years, got my grades up, got accepted to business school at Syracuse University. And when I went up there, I started doing some military liaison type things for Congresswoman Anne Marie Burkle. And, you know, it opened my eyes to the fact that while I was in the corner boohooing about my own struggles, I don't care how bad you have it, there's somebody else out there that has it worse off. And I got to see that firsthand. So I decided to reach out to an organization that was training service dogs, primarily for the special operations community, called Labs for Liberty. And I took the skill set that the Marine Corps gave me and I transferred it over to training service dogs for veterans. And that was great. It was providing some purpose, you know, being able to give back and help. But I'm still continuously just losing guys. And we finally pulled the trigger and moved back down here in 2018. 2019, we lost 5 guys within a 13-month span. And that's when I broke down to Stephanie and I said, there's got to be more that we can do. What can we do? Well, she'd picked up on something. She picked up on every time I was going back and forth to Salt Lake City, Utah, where Labs for Liberty was, I'd always come back refreshed, rejuvenated. And why is that? Well, so out there they had some rifle and pistol ranges, some ATV trails that we'd go right around. We'd do some fly fishing, some hunting. But most importantly, at the end of the day, I'd sit around a bonfire with other combat veterans, and I got more therapy out of that than I ever did the medication or sitting in front of the doctors. So when she picked up on that, and I was like, you're right, let's move to Utah. And we had just moved back down here. But she's like, maybe you're onto something. Maybe we should try to recreate something like that down here.
Stephanie, you know, I asked JR what toll it took on him, but you've mentioned in an article I read that the families are affected just as much. And you brought it so succinctly when you said, for you, while they're gone, your life is a normal pace. But when he returns, that changes for him, and you try to still maintain normalcy. When JR came up with the concept, it sounds like you were quite the spark plug. So, what were the joys and challenges of putting this together?
Well, I think it's really hard when you're watching somebody that you care about struggle and continue to struggle and not really know what it is that you can do to help. So when you, as your spouse or any caregiver, you're going to be the first one that's going to really notice when there's that shift, when something changes, whether it's positive or negative, and being able to pick up on those things, what is actually helping and what's not helping. When we acknowledged how the experiences, what he was experiencing out in Utah was affecting him when he would come back home, he was a better version of himself. He was more motivated. He had just more energy. He was more excited about everything. And then seeing when he would get one of those phone calls, how all that motivation would come crashing right back down because it would put him back in that place that he knew that those guys were in at the time. So just being able to notice those changes and implement the things that are actually helping. So when we kind of got to talking about, well, what is it that you're doing? Why is this different than everything else that you've done? It kind of laid out a pretty obvious roadmap of what are the things that are going to be able to help somebody who's struggling in this situation.
So we get from this, let's do something, to 268 acres worth of making it happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you mentioned your skill set, certainly the outdoors, the training the dogs, but what were some of the foundational elements that had to be in place for you to really see what we're seeing today?
I got to be honest with you, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just knew that we had been a part of some other organizations and saw some things that we didn't really like. There's a lot of really good organizations out there, but there's a lot of scumbags, if you will, that are trying to take advantage of veterans, and we saw both sides. So we knew what we did not want to be. But I'll tell you, and he was actually just honored Thursday, but Craig Ostergaard, one of our board members, met him very early on within the first couple weeks of of us starting the property. And he helped us come up with our blueprint of how to set up a board, how to run a board meeting, how to recruit board members, to come up with a blueprint for fundraising, bylaws, just all of the bones that go into the organization. So I don't think we can truly take credit. Stephanie had a skill set of being able to brand manage, market. Obviously, kind of, I have the story, but we were missing Craig, and Craig was kind of the glue that brought everything together. So I wish I could say that we had all the answers, but we had more questions than answers.
Sometimes isn't that better?
Oh,
It
100%.
is better. Now, Stephanie, I was going to ask what your current role is, because on the website, which is fabulous website, by the way, everybody needs to get on the website. Your graphic designer is your title. I have to believe that's a very simple way of describing everything you're doing.
No, I agree. I run the graphics, the marketing, the branding. So I'm more of a chief marketing officer that oversees all of that. And then obviously we're the co-founders of the organization.
Now, of that new skill set, how comfortable are you in this new role?
I remember one of the first few board meetings we had, and I can tell you that I've lost family relationships, friendships, because I didn't want to tell people what I was going through and talk about my struggles, just like I was able to talk about Stephanie wrestling a shotgun out of my hands. I wouldn't talk about any of that stuff, and Craig actually brought it up that the only way this is going to take off, you need to get comfortable telling your story. So it was hard, and it still is, but there's something that I found that motivates me, why I'm willing to share some of the darkest days of my life, because I would start doing these speaking engagements, whether they're here or around the country. I would always have other veterans lined up waiting to come talk to me when I'm done. Just because I was vulnerable and I opened up and told them about my struggles, they were looking for somebody that understood exactly what they were going through. They weren't looking for answers. They just needed 10 to 15 minutes to get off their chest to somebody that truly understood. So it motivated me. So now it's, I'm an open book when it comes to my struggles. I want guys and gals to be able to open up, and especially to our spouses. Stephanie and I had an experience very early on where I broke down to her and I kind of told her the root cause of why I was struggling. I don't think that she would have stayed with me while I was going through all those struggles if she did not know that. And I think that you would agree with that.
It definitely it shifts the situation that you're in when you understand where the pain is coming from.
Right, and it's a pain for us civilians.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. And it has been interesting to work with our veterans so much in Sun City, because we see the history and the culture and embrace the value that everybody has. I think, and please tell me if I've misconstrued this, but after I said Sun City, got our OPFOB 101 from Jimmy. Am I wrong in thinking that one of the beauties of your program is it's not a we're going to fix you program, it's we're working with each other to fix ourselves?
Absolutely.
It seems like you're working from such a beautiful grassroots idea. Just being with each other, like you said, sitting around the bonfire.
And that's what we've been able to create here. It's as simple as creating a community and a tribe for like-minded individuals. We love civilians, we love everybody, but nobody's ever going to understand us better than us. Nobody's going to ever understand the spouse side unless you've gone through that. So right now, during coffee hour, you have a barn full of all different ages, branches, races, religions, whatever. We all have a common goal, and we want to see each other thrive throughout life. So that way we can continue to lean on each other when times get tough. I'll tell you just real quick. Last weekend, I just lost my 31st guy, like I said. This past week has sucked. To Stephanie's point, every time I'd lose a guy, it kind of always took me back there. Well, immediately I reach out to a couple guys, and the guys are reaching out to me. They're like, hey, you need to come out and spend Saturday night and have a retreat with us. Now I have that positive outlet to be able to reach out and talk through things and just be around like-minded individuals, where before I didn't have that. Before it was quick to grab the bottle of pills or a bottle of booze, and just, as we all know, that's not a combination that works out well for anybody.
Now, Stephanie, is there any other model like this? I mean, could you have modeled this after something, or is it really very much as original as I think it is?
As much as what I've seen out there, no. There's a lot of great organizations, like JR said, but we're really trying to stay in our lane of just keeping everybody outdoors, keeping your bodies and your minds active and doing it with like-minded individuals. Because to JR's point, there's still, every year, there's still going to be the bad days. Those don't go away, but they look different now when you have this community and you have the support system. It's not as destructive as it was before.
Now, you came from the 268 acres, and you've now learned how to conduct a board meeting, but you both, from what Jimmy has explained to us, you have really exciting initiatives headed toward us. Give us some.
We do, and just real quick to touch on what Stephanie was talking about, we're one of the only organizations, we're not a one and done. You know, there's a lot of great organizations. You can go on a ski trip, you can go on a fishing, hunting trip, something like that. But then all of a sudden, poof, you go back home to wherever you're from throughout the country. What we have is we encourage people to continue to come out and be a part of that family. And that's why last month we just surpassed over 51,000 visits to the FOB. Now, that's not 51,000 people. That's 51,000 times that people have come through that gate. And we haven't lost anybody that's come through that gate yet. So that just motivates us to continue to look, okay, well, what do we do? What do we do with this? We've proven this concept out here. Do we share it with the world? So we actually have just started a pre-production, if you will, for a feature-length documentary. We think that we need to spread this out to the masses and then see what that looks like. You know, is that trying to have a FOB strategically, you know, in not every state, but every region, or to find other JRs in certain areas and give them the playbook and walk beside them while they continue to try to build up their organization. We do have some new programs that are coming on. We just kicked off our service dog program. We have 7 dogs in the program right now. And we're currently trying to purchase, there's 650 acres that butts right up to our property. We're trying to add on to that and protect our property because as we've seen in Bluffton and Oakity, everything is just expanding. So we don't want to see 500 to 600 homes right behind our outdoor recreational facility. So we're trying to build our wellness and resource center. We've got a lot of things going on, but one thing that I am extremely, extremely proud of our team
We got
is
some
that
visitors coming. We've got some visitors
we've got
coming.
the puppies coming out.
Hi.
Just as we mentioned the
I know.
Is this part of the script?
This
Is
is.
this part of the script? You cued them that,
We
that
send
they're
them out.
supposed to come on over?
You know, really what it is they were watching us and talking about some of this thing. You can get a little tensed up and you can feel it. They
They
know
can
to
sense
recognize that and come over and say, hey, I'm here, pet me.
Oh.
We're good, we're good, we're cool.
So the building campaign is underway, Stephanie, right?
Yes.
Okay, now we have over 20,000 people in Sun City.
Mhm.
How can we help you?
So, you know, JR talked a little bit about the programs and stuff that we have coming up, which are all great. But on the marketing side, we have to be able to afford all of them. You know, 268 acres, keeping the gates open and the lights on day to day without any extra stuff is already a big bill. So adding these things on top of it just increases our need to constantly be bringing in more funds. We're a very event-driven organization because of that. All year round, you can find opportunities to come out and support some of our events. But the big campaign that we're really excited about pushing this year is our Save 22 Club. So what that is our $22 monthly donation program. And the 22 number is very significant in the veteran community. On average, we're losing 22 veterans a day to suicide. So it's a number that we all relate to. And obviously our goal out here of reducing that number. So $22 a month, if we can increase that donor base, then we can cover our monthly costs of operating and be able to focus more of those funds on expanding the programs that we have and expanding the reach that we have. So it's a feasible number for the community to get involved with and really feel like they're a part of making this mission possible.
I think another thing we should mention is Charity Navigator, who really watches all of the charities and how they spend the funds that are given to them. You're a 4-star Charity Navigator
We're
rating.
4-star and we've been at 99%, and this year we hit 100% on our rating. So we are very meticulous on what we do with our funds to make sure that there are no questions about everything being used properly.
We're good stewards of the donations that we get. 93 cents of every dollar goes directly back into our programs.
That's
last year.
fabulous. And I will tell you, I think I've met the entire staff because it's very small paid staff. But I don't think I'll ever be able to meet all the volunteers because there are so many.
They are the
Thousands.
backbone of this organization, our volunteers.
Only good things should come to you for starting this. If there's a hall of fame for people that really try hard to make people feel better about themselves. You're both in it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We're going to go meet some more people and maybe
Yes.
that puppy trainer.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
OPFOB's Executive Director, Jimmy Banton, took lots of time to give SCTV the OPFOB 101 course on all the moving parts this organization has taken on and how it's moving forward.
Jimmy, you are helping me to complete a mission, a mission I've been on, and that's to help people understand OPFOB. One of those acronyms, we throw them around, and it's a valuable acronym to know about. So I'm going to let you first give us that definition. What is OPFOB?
Okay, yeah. So OPFOB stands for Operation Patriot's Forward Operating Base. And if somebody asks, like, well, what's a forward operating base? It is a small little base tucked in the middle of nowhere in some austere environment that we always operated from. For Vietnam vets or anything, they may think of Firebase, what a Firebase was. So that is what we've created here on our 268 acres.
Now, what is OPFOB's mission?
So our mission is we are dedicated at providing purpose, peer-to-peer engagement. So we are a veteran and first responder run organization. And really the whole goal is preventing veteran and first responder suicide. But we try and get way ahead of that problem by, if you give somebody purpose and a mission, then you really don't have to worry about the latter part.
That's a pretty heavy duty assignment. How do you accomplish that?
So we have a bunch of different events, a bunch of different activities out here. So when we go on the tour, you'll see the whole entire 268 acres. We've got outdoor recreational activities. We've got support groups and things like that. So Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. is one of the biggest ones. I invite everybody out to see that one. We have coffee and camaraderie.
How many veterans or first responders might we see on a Saturday?
Normally you're seeing upwards of about 100 to 125. So especially now with the fall coming up and everything, with the better weather, and you get it in, you get the coffee and camaraderie in before the college football hits. So I promise you will be able to get back before to see kickoff. But Saturday mornings we've got coffee and camaraderie. When you show up in our barn here, 500 square feet, 5,000 square feet, you've got volunteers cooking breakfast. There's a huge spread. You'll have all the veterans and first responders sitting down, and all we're doing is communicating and building relationships and building that trust. And we call it building the tribe that we once had when we served with. During that time, we'll make a few announcements, and then we'll give tours to the folks who've never been here before. And then after the tours are done and everything else, we'll go and have safety briefs, and we'll open up our rifle pistol range, and we'll open up our 5-stand to shoot clays.
Some fun then.
It's a lot of fun
for the afternoon.
So that's the big one for Saturdays. We also, for other support groups, we've got AA meetings Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. here. And we also have a Bible study group. So with the Bible study group, 7:15 in the morning at Corner Perk in Bluffton. Okay. And then following coffee hour on Saturdays, we're going to start picking it back up again for the Bible study there as well.
Now, all of these participants, can we call them members? Do they sign up to become a part of OPFOB?
They do. So everything for all of our members, all the activities, all the events, the trips, everything that we do, 100% free for our members. So for our members, it's veterans, actively serving and retired first responders, actively serving military, so active duty, National Guard, reserves, all that kind of stuff. Gold Star family members, and then families of all the above, like immediate family members of all the above. For that, we ask them simply to go on our website, opfob.org, and you'll see the click join, and it's all you're doing is filling out your information on there. One thing it also makes you sign the liability waiver, which is super huge. But then really what it does is get you onto our mailing distribution list. So that's where we send out all of our weekly happenings and things like that for different events to sign up for.
Now, we hope we'll have an opportunity to really get the origin story of how this OPFOB was created. But when was the first year that this was open?
So we opened in 2020. Height of COVID. So it's great time to open up anything, start any organization.
It's a year we remember. It's
right.
A memorable year, and it was curative in many ways during that period of time. Now, it doesn't sound like you say no cost to your members. Things like this are probably done donation wise. And looking at your website, you've got a nice support from corporations and community. To what do you attribute that success of having their support?
I think once people learn about the mission, what we're doing, and then seeing who we are and how we operate, it's a lot of people find it as a good fit to help support. There's so many people, military and first responders. When you look at it, of the things that folks have gone through and the service they've done to the country, whether that's the local community or overseas, it's always good. People hear about that and what we're doing, and really our mission of, at the end of the day, we're giving purpose and we're saving lives, and people can really get behind something like that.
Now, I think it's important to know that, donors, corporate, community, individual donors, when we donate to a charity, yes, the 501c3 is always, it's a guarantee that there's, good purpose there. But there's a difference in how charities often use the funding that they receive. And you proudly state on your website that 92 cents of every dollar is going to the program. That leaves a very narrow margin for administrative costs. Now, I could say what I think is probably, the contributing factor to how that's working, but I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the big things is volunteer based. We have a tremendous amount of volunteers. One of the examples is we had over 100 volunteers for our concert last April. So we were very, very heavily reliant on our volunteers, and our volunteers are absolutely fantastic. And we have a small staff. So we've got 10 folks now that are paid employees to OPFOB. But I will say the reason it's down, everybody understands the purpose and the mission of what we're doing. And that comes to a lot of sacrifices that everybody has made to come on, taking significant pay cuts in order to do it. But again, it's one of those things of if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that's kind of how it is here. So it's sometimes I kind of like pinch myself of like, is this work? Yeah, I think it is. But we've got to, but again, the fantastic people here on the staff and our volunteer base.
Is there a way that sometimes you can measure the success of the program? Are there things that make that pay cut a little bit easier because you've got that benefit?
Yes. So there's a couple ways. Obviously the participation growth. When I first showed up to Coffee Hour in 2022, when I started to get involved, it was, coffee, and one time somebody put old pizza out from the night prior, and I'm like, we're living in the barracks again. And, so, but you see where it is now. You see all the different events that are going in, and the growth and the participation of it. You see the traction that everybody's going. You see the purpose that you give people. Like, you'll meet some folks out in town at one of our outreach events or something, and you'll go up to somebody, and you start kind of seeing the body language. You start talking to them and everything, and you can see there's a struggle there. And a lot of the times it's just they're missing that piece of the camaraderie piece back in the tribe. And then all of a sudden you see them here, and they walk in kind of slumped down, and then you walk out shoulders back, which is super huge. But the biggest achievement that you see is the zero suicide piece. And we know that at some point in time, the numbers are against us. But right now we've had over 38,000 of our members come through this gate, and not a single suicide from any of our members that are part of OPFOB. So it is a very significant piece there that we are going to continue to strive for each day.
That would keep me going. That's
Yes.
for sure. Now, as we look at the future, you're in I guess I would call it an expansion phase.
We are.
What's coming with that?
So we used to be focused on, the outdoor recreation piece, and I will say this, the importance of the outdoor recreation piece is it's not just, people having a great time. We want them to have a great time, but it's not just about that single golf outing or that single fishing trip or anything. Everything that we do, it's meant for people to engage one another. So I always say that these outdoor recreation things are a icebreaker. It's the piece that, by the end of the round, you're normally best friends, right? And so it's building that network of support network for people to lean on when times get hard. So that will always be a big portion of OPFOB. But as we grow and we see the demand for and the need of more to do for our veterans and our first responders, so we've started some really exciting other programs. So one of them was we started a Homes for Heroes program. So this Homes for Heroes program, it is in partnership with Lennar Homes, and what it is we are able to gift a mortgage-free home to a deserving veteran or first responder. And we just did that back in June of this year. Was our first home in Hilton Head Lakes. So we were able to give them a mortgage-free home. Well, on top of that, we knew this person. He was a former dog trainer, dog handler as well. So that goes into our next program. We offered him a job as the director of our canine service dog and companion dog program.
Okay, so you'll be training people to train the dogs to be service or companion dogs?
Correct. So what ends up happening is if you look at, there's normally about an 18-month wait to get a service dog. And with that service, so what we're doing is we plan to cut that time a lot shorter. So what it is, we're actually next week, we're getting our first few dogs to go into training. So our cadre of dog trainers will train the dogs, but also when we get the application process for the person who is in need of it, we're going to give them the dog, and then they're coming with the dog to do training as well to learn how to help train the dog. Now, we're not going to certify, they're not certified as a dog trainer,
right,
but they're working with their dog to get the best outcome.
Do you already have some volunteers ready to get trained in the program?
So not yet.
Okay.
So we've got the dogs right now, and then they're still puppies. So our dog trainer's got a lot of work ahead of them to kind of get them up to par. But so this is in the very infant stages of the service dog program. But then we will soon carry that forward. And then we've got some other plans to actually where there might be a spot time to actually certify people to be dog trainers. And then that's, again, giving them purpose. And then so if they want to go and start their own dog training program, they would be able to.
And Jimmy, I'm looking at it from the Sun City perspective where we would be the consumer, the customer. It's a big need. I know people right now that would do anything to get one of these dogs.
Yeah. So a big thing, is they're a veteran or first responder or anything like that, then we will be able to give them more information very, very soon on potentials of this.
Now, it looks like there's also a new building coming.
Yes, ma'am. So we have, so one of the things, again, we don't have a brick and mortar headquarters building or anything like that. So I'm normally working out of my truck or from home or wherever, and I'm up here sucking up the Wi-Fi in the barn, right, to work from. But one of the biggest things is a headquarters building that we need, and it's not the main effort. The main thing is not for us. I'll still work from my truck. I'm fine with that. But when we host events, when we host retreats and things of that nature, we need some place where they can all flock to and come together, and that's what the OPFOB Lodge will be. So we're hoping to break ground sometime in early next year, 2026. But what this will be is the phase one of this building will be a little over 10,000 square feet. It's got to have a full kitchen and a dining hall, and that's one of the big things here. So like when you see the barn, we're using grills, we're using Blackstones. We just have an addition on our barn here for a small food prep station piece, but that's not what we need. We need a dining facility and a kitchen so people can break bread together, and that's where one of the big pieces of the camaraderie comes into from there. But the other thing, one of the big things it's going to have is a full gym. So physical fitness is a huge portion of our programs, and so being able to come up here and use the gym for free for our members to do that. It'll have a huge common area, a small little boardroom place where we can have classes and give people a little bit of education. And then upstairs we'll have some office space for permanent personnel. And on the other side above the gym, we're going to have 3 separate suites so people can have a little bit more privacy when they stay here. that's phase one. Phase two, we're looking to put a 16-room suite, 8 upstairs, 8 downstairs, more of like a kind of a hotel kind of portion for individuals to have their privacy when they stay here for certain retreats. And then phase three, we're looking at putting on the backside of the headquarters building of phase one, sporadically have little tiny homes. We don't know what that's actually going to look like yet, but the plan is to have that spread around on the back piece as well, because what we have right now, we have basically 4 different types of retreats that we do here. One is a family retreat. So if a family just wants to get out in the peace and quiet in the country, they book it through us and they have it, and they're on their own at that point. Same thing with warrior retreats. They, if guys or gals want to have unit reunions or different things like that, they can use that here as well. Again, they're on their own. They're bringing their food, and it's like a big camping weekend trip for them, and it's great. The other 2 are kind of special. Well, those are 2, but I call them OPFOB retreats. So OPFOB has a activity. We feed everybody. We host everybody. They don't need to bring anything, and they just come out here and they do the thing. We've got a 20-acre dove field on the back of the property that you'll see. We did a dove hunt last year, and we just went 10 people randomly selected. 37 people signed up. The random selection was my 17-year-old daughter. I was like, Katie, give me a number 1 through 37 10 times. Let's go. And it worked out beautifully, though, because when those 10 individuals got here, they didn't know each other. It's like, you look familiar from coffee hour. No, they had no idea who they were. In less than 24 hours, they were hugging, high-fiving, trading contact information. Can't wait to see you again, brother. I mean, that was the connection. Again, it was the icebreaker that we got to build the tribe a little bit more. So that's an OPFOB type retreat. We feed them, we house them, we do everything for them for that. In fact, we've got partners. We're in the end of October. We're sending about eight folks out to South Dakota to do a pheasant hunt with one of our other nonprofit partners that we're good friends with. So that's kind of an OPFOB retreat. We pay for the travel and all that stuff. The final one, and a real exciting one that we just started, and it's another program. We call the program Challenge Accepted, and it is a post-traumatic growth program. So again, we're giving folks tools to deal with the stresses of life. Whether it's PTSD or just stresses and anxiety, we're giving them non-clinical different practices, a couple classes of, hey, this is why you're feeling this way, and these are ways to improve on it. But we also give them the care that we know that you've got a support network for it. And that one, we house them, we feed them, we do everything here together on property for that. And we did our pilot program last month, and it was fantastic. I went through it as well, and it was great. I mean, it's just, and the best part about it is that, and the thing that's a little different, I think, with OPFOB, other than other organizations, is we're never a one and done. You come here, you come here every weekend for coffee hour if you want to. You can come do as many programs as you want to. You can go as many golf outings as you want to. It's not hey, you already did your thing, you can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. Because, and again, it's that the community piece. Yeah. And the best thing with the post-traumatic growth program that we're doing with the Challenge Accepted program is that there's other organizations that do those programs, but once you finish the on-site program, you go back to home, wherever that is, and you've lost your tribe of people. When you do our program, guess what? See, you finish through the program. It's like, see you next Saturday for coffee hour. Wow. And it just helps build with that community and that tribe. And then we tell folks, like, once you have this knowledge, you have a responsibility to share this knowledge with others and help them, and then tell them to come through the program and just help build it. And then again, everybody's in the barn as well.
I think back to our first question. I asked you, what is OPFOB? I don't think there's a big enough way to explain it.
I would, just thinking about it now, just thinking about this, I think the best way to I always describe it, if it was one word, it's purpose. But really, it's a community of like-minded individuals providing purpose and mission to one another.
The best forward operating base that you can have.
Oh, it's great. The food's much better.
Need you to give us one promise, and that's that you won't leave us out of the things that are coming up for your organization.
Absolutely.
I'm sure our Sun City residents would like to help in other ways, volunteering. I understand you also have a program that makes it very easy for us to donate.
Yes. So we started the Save 22 program, and where's the number 22 come from? It's unfortunately the national average for daily suicide rate among veterans. Also don't want to leave out the first responder piece. We're losing more first responders to suicide than in the line of duty, which is actually a terrible, terrible thing as well. So, but that's where the 22 comes from. And what we ask is for the generosity of the community to sign up and become a donor for the Save 22 Club. $22 a month, 72 cents a day is what it comes out to. But just having the generosity of the community to allow all of that we do 100% free for our members. It's a huge program that we're pushing.
I'm like overwhelmed. I think I'm out of breath listening to all of this that's happened. And again, we want to support you in many ways as we can. I know certainly our Sun City veterans will be glad to hear that we're here to know more about you.
Yes.
And be there with you through all this growth.
Like I said, we invite all the Sun City veterans and first responders to please come out and see us. The best time to check us out is on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. We're always here doing the coffee and camaraderie. It's the best way to see this place in action.
I guess I'll say we'll be back.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As Jimmy mentioned, Giving Purpose is an OPFOB goal, and their service dog training program is underway. We met with Morgan Strain, program manager.
Morgan, this is another reason that we want Sun City and all of our residents, all 20,000+ of them, to know how fabulous OPFOB is. Since our last visit in September, a new program's been developed that you're in charge of. So tell us about that program.
We stood up the Operation Patriots FOB service dog program, and I was chosen to be lucky enough to be the program manager for it. We currently have 7 dogs in the program. They're all phenomenal. We've worked with breeders in Wisconsin and Illinois, and we've gotten some world-class dogs. We've done some continuing education training with Atlantic Working Dogs in North Carolina, and we've just built a program that is very unique and boutique, and we're really proud of it. We've got some just phenomenal dogs that are saving lives. These dogs, it's crazy. They understand there is a bigger purpose for them. So their people have just bought into the program, and the dogs have also bought into the program. I'm just kind of steering the ship, basically.
Well, besides the fact that they're absolutely adorable and beautiful and handsome animals, they're sort of the stars of this morning's, event. Everybody stops to meet them and greet them. But what will be the result when the dogs are trained? Who will have accessibility to the service dogs?
People inside of our community. We've got a community that is like no other that I'm aware of in the nation. We're all veterans or first responders. We've all kind of, at least most of us, have kind of gone through a lot of hurt and a lot of trauma, and we're trying to we all have the same mission. We just want to end the 22 a day. Most of us, or a lot of us at least, have kind of got close to that moment. So we link arms and we say, I'm not quitting today. You're not quitting today either. And that's kind of that's basically the ins and outs of it. The dogs really help those that need a little more constant engagement. When that dog depends on you, and now you have a reason, when you have something that you're obligated to take care of something, a reason bigger than yourself. It helps. It definitely helps.
Now, before we started the interview, you mentioned that there are 2 sayings that you all live by here. Repeat those for our viewers, please.
One is no coincidences. So God is good, and we believe that He has predestined everything that we go through. And so we say no coincidences regularly. The other is we're doing the right things for the right reasons for the right people. And we just kind of live by that. If it's right, it's going to work out. And we're just grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve such a deserving community.
Well, you deserve so much credit for taking this charge. Thank you so much for letting us know about this.
Well, I've got the greatest job in the United States of America. So I get to play with puppies all day.
Oh.
So, and I get to bring them to our nation's veterans and first responders. So,
Well, you deserve a great job.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you very much.
And of course, we knew our Sun City veterans have embraced OPFOB's mission. What we were surprised to learn is how one of our own was there at the OPFOB's very beginning. Hear his story.
Ron, we are here to help our Sun City residents learn about OPFOB. We have tried, we've met with the Origin people, we've met with the service dog director, but here we find you are on the board of OPFOB, a Sun City resident. So tell our residents what they need, that little commercial about why they should know how important OPFOB is.
OPFOB is a organization for veterans and first responders. Our main goal is suicide prevention and suicide awareness. That's what we're here for. Our veteran suicide is 22 a day, according to the VA. It's actually a little bit more than that. And the same thing with our first responders. I mean, those guys have a terrific job they do every single day. And with being on the road and seeing the things they see really causes a lot of trauma. And they have to take it home with them every night. And our veterans, especially our Vietnam veterans that are here, that live with these issues every single day, especially later in life. It's unbelievable how many, the age of the average veteran in the state of South Carolina that takes their life is 75. Those are Vietnam veterans that are taking their lives because they can't deal with it any longer.
Oh. Now, you were here at the beginning. You said even before the beginning of OPFOB. Yep. How would you say the evolution of this program has been? I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah. We started this program actually in July of 2020. When we came on this property was purchased for OPFOB. It was a working plantation, a working barn that you see behind us. And the cleanup that's taking place, the events that we do here for veterans and first responders, it costs nothing. And we started from scratch. And we are now 6 years old this July. And with over 50,000 veterans and first responders and guests that have come through the gates of OPFOB, to our knowledge, we've not had one suicide, to our knowledge. And I think that's a tremendous effect that we've had, not only on our community locally, but we have folks coming from out of state every single week. There are folks here. We've had them come from as far as Wisconsin, from Ohio, from Cincinnati, from Chicago, all different places coming from around the country that know about us and taking the word and spreading it throughout. Today we're having an event we do every Saturday. We've had over 120 people here today that walk through these doors, come in this barn. And then we'll go out and have recreational time together afterwards, because this together time that we spend with each other is what prevents the issue with the suicides. It's just an amazing event that goes on here every single week. And then we have other things throughout the week that we do. There are all kinds of activities. We got a huge concert coming up in May that's with top entertainers that will be here to perform. And that's one of the things that keeps us in business, because without all the donations that we receive, we could not do this, because everything here is free to veterans and first responders and their families. And we really want families to come too, because they deal with their spouses' issues, their fathers, their children, and it's a big deal that we're family oriented. And we also have a service dog training program here, not only for service dogs, but for companion dogs. Not everybody needs a service dog, but they could use a companion dog. So we're trying That's a program that we started last year, and it's really taken off.
Now, Ron, you know, Sun City people are very, very generous. We're so, supportive of so many charities. But how can we help OPFOB?
Well, not only through financial donations, but through support. Volunteer to come out and take a day or two to help, to cut grass, do whatever you can do.
And I have to say, this is such a beautiful facility that spending time here, I think, would be a luxury.
Would be, because a lot of people don't know we're here. But we have been very blessed to have the Sun City Veterans Organization that have supported us, not only with their support, but also financially. The
100 Women Who Care.
The 100 Women Who Care gave us a very generous donation last year, and we need that. And then the Italian Club, the Voci, I believe is how you say that, they just were out last week and made a presentation to us. These are the types of things that we need to do that. Then we also have the 22 a day program, where if you go to our website at OPFOB.org, you can sign up to do a $22 a month donation. That'll be a continuous donation or a one-time donation, but we get a lot of support from that helps us to know that we've got $22 a month coming in from folks that are very generous. And that's what keeps the doors open. I say the doors. That's what keeps the property open, so that we can provide these facilities at no charge for our veterans and our first responders. On the property, we have a cottage. That's a 2-bedroom cottage that will sleep 6 people. We have a tiny house down by a nice little fishing pond that will sleep 4 people. And then we also have a bunkhouse that will sleep 18 people very comfortably, with all the comforts of home in a bunkhouse. And when you say bunkhouse, you think of an old Western place with horses in the ranch. Not true. It's in a very nice setting with a fire pit and a grill. And folks that are coming from out of town or in groups are welcome to stay here. And it doesn't charge. We don't charge anything for them to stay here.
Oh, this has been such a delight, and it was so great to connect with you as a representative of Sun City, who's doing so much for this organization.
Well,
thank you
so much. But I love Sun City. I've been there 14 years, and it was our 29th move, and it's the last one. So we are so happy to be in Sun City, and we appreciate all the support we get from our Sun City residents.
Thanks to all the OPFOB staff and volunteers who helped us understand, as they call it, this place for like-minded heroes. Thank you for watching.